computer.
Got it.
Hello, everyone. I'm here with my sisters, Sylvia and Sam, from Midweek Musings. We haven't done the last couple of weeks, various things coming up, so just wanted to have a little catch up. How's it going, ladies?
Good, very good. Yeah, I'm in a really positive space. I'm feeling good about this year. Regardless of what happens. I mean, we're not at the end of the road. This is by no means over, but I think I'm in a really positive space about it all. Like, whatever happens, I think we're going to be all right. And the rally last week, the weekend was fantastic. Really missed having you there though, Fee.
I know, I was really gutted not be able to make it, but this throat thing, I was like, oh, me and cold air, not a good mix at the moment. Like, just the coughing and so I was really gutted, but I did watch all the footage, watch your lives and everything. It did look amazing, like a really great turnout, which was it was a relief in a lot of ways, because some people saying, oh wow, the mandates have been axed and blah blah, so what are you actually protesting for? It's good to see that people aren't just falling for it, taking the few crumbs and thinking this is in any way indicative of it just being over. It's like I've been saying, it's only just the beginning. But yeah, it's such a great turnout, and I saw the footage in Oz as well, Sylvia. Like, you had an epic one, didn't you? And
well, I was actually gonna say, like, I'm actually feeling really positive for the future as well, because I'm up in Cairns, you guys know, and it bucketed down, and we had a really, really good 4,000 people, we reckon. Like, when you look on Map Checker and stuff like that, and to see that many people come out knowing it was going to rain. I'd done a live saying, look, it's probably going to rain, some people stayed home, they were sick, that's fine, but for that many people to come out in that weather, I think what a staunch community, what an amazing community. And I was a little bit disappointed to see some of the footage from Melbourne and Sydney being quite heavily politicized. That's really big up here, and that we don't have like politicized rallies. People pressure a lot, there's a lot of pressure. They're like, let's get this political candidate speak, let's get this political candidate speak. I'm actually a political candidate, and I never even mention that at the rallies and when I MC, because it's not the time and the place. And I think when people say, in the comments, the keyboard warriors, oh, these don't achieve anything, they might not achieve anything for the government, but for our community, they're huge. And for us all to realize that we are not alone, and that the people who we march with are so staunch that they will walk through the rain. That
it wasn't just rain though, it's even monsoon, wasn't it?
It was. Luckily, it was warm, so there was that. I almost had to take my shoes off, so I was walking barefoot for a while because I almost fell on my face. It was really, it was like that. Should have had my wellies.
Yeah.
But so I just think they're such great events, and it always buoys the spirits, it really does.
And I do think that they are having an actual impact.
I do.
Now in the UK, I can't speak for everywhere else, but I think we're at the point where the numbers are so great and it's starting to get into the mainstream. I mean, I say this is kind of alongside a lot of other things that are happening, but I do think that having that number of people on the streets every month, it has an impact. That's why they've rolled back the mandates now, the mask mandates and the vaccine.
Well, part of the reason. The other part of the reason is Boris retaining his
there's that whole
popularity.
Thing. Yeah, of course.
But no, I totally agree. I think they might not acknowledge it. They might not have it all over the media. But there's no way they can ignore, I mean, we're getting regularly hundreds of thousands of people out on the streets. And on Saturday, there was about 15 across the UK. And the turnouts, all of them was, there's my cat, sorry about that, was brilliant. And to have that kind of turnout everywhere was incredible. And you can't ignore that as a government, to know that, rallies are always only a proportion of the people that,
That's the point. Yeah.
Exactly.
You've got people that are working, people that have got children, people that can't afford to, pay out the train fare and that kind of thing, or the transport issues. So it's still only a proportion, and to have that many people on the streets, it can't be ignored.
And it's not just a proportion of the people as well, Sam. It's not like the only thing we do is rallies. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, some people think, oh, you just do a rally every month. What's the point of that? But behind the scenes, you've got people writing the letters, standing in the park every Sunday, getting together, connecting community, all the things that people do, other protests and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's tons going on. Tons going
another
on.
thing I wanted to tell you guys.
Everything that what gets on my nerves a bit sometimes is this attitude that everyone should be doing this one thing.
Yes.
And there's a place for everything. Anything that anybody's doing to stand up against this, to resist, it's all part of it, and it's all just as important. There isn't one thing.
100%.
Like, we couldn't just have, like you say, the rallies and the protests and no other action. It would achieve nothing.
Exactly.
You can't also only have people writing to their MPs, or people just standing in the park and not actually doing anything else aside from that. All of these things come together, and I think people need to just focus on that and big that up, rather than criticizing what people are doing, because it's all part of it, and some of us aren't kind of suited to doing certain things. It's just not our thing. We're not good at it. So everyone doing what they're drawn to, what fits for them, I think that's
the most important thing.
It is.
That's the most important thing. And don't be a hypocrite. Non-compliance, like, obviously you pick your battles, but put your mask in your pocket and wait till someone asks you. It's little things like that. I think the compliance levels are still really high. And I think rallies do help people feel braver and stronger. And, one thing I wanted to tell you guys, our local rag up here, like a year ago when we first started doing these worldwide freedom rallies, it was, anti-vaxxer march and stuff like that, or whatever. And just this last one that we had, they actually did say marching for freedom. So
wow, that's quite a turn.
I know.
That's an achievement.
I mean, they did use words like so-called, stuff like that.
We had NHS, the NHS 100K joined the anti-vaxxers. I did a post on my Facebook page, just basically this article that came out. They claim that it's experimental, but they don't offer any kind of thing to say that it's not.
No, because it is. That's what visually approved means.
Yeah, I picked it apart. I did a long post. I was just like, so many of the people that join us at these rallies, they've had 1, 2, or even 3 injections, and it's not about, it's about, we're not mandating this. This should be personal choice.
Get whatever medical procedure you want, but you don't discriminate against people who haven't got it. I mean, it's pretty basic, and people are still arguing that it's okay. There's no segregation.
I mean, I think we could probably go into, all the reasons why it's just ridiculous, but probably not the time and the place. But yeah.
And the people who need to know probably aren't listening. So
I think
we can still keep putting our bits out there, though. You never know. I do think, I tend to do a lot on my Facebook page and just, put little analysis, little snippets out, and I think a lot of people, they will see it, whether there's a lot that don't comment, they don't like, but I do periodically get messages from people saying, I don't ever like or comment your posts, but I do see them, and I love that you're speaking out. I'm totally behind you. Like, I just don't feel comfortable to do that myself. So I think they definitely, it's just, as you were saying earlier, a little piece of that puzzle, all these little things that we can be doing to spread.
It's all important.
Yeah, it is. It's all important. We see the power of unity. People I think they actually are coming together more now, within the movement and just in general, which is obviously the worst thing possible for the powers that should not be. You know, it's the worst nightmare. Absolutely. You know, I have no doubt that behind the scenes they are panicking. They have to be. And I do think, you know, not to be a Debbie Downer or, you know, to sort of be alarmist or anything, but I do think we do have to be prepared. This hasn't worked. This is their kind of softly approach, you know, believe it or not. Like, we've been under absolute tyranny for 2 years, but this is nothing. They've got so much more in their arsenal. I think they're realizing, this isn't going to be an easy one. They're not going to just
Time to change the strategy, change tack or something.
So we've got to be prepared for all of those things that they might pull out of the bag. I think we can absolutely counteract it the whole way, you know, just with our energy and with that refusal to comply. But I think we're going to be tested, you know, because this is all out war between us and them without a lot of people even realizing it. Like, this is literally good versus evil. This is, you know, it is biblical. It's all, regardless of what your beliefs are, this is the big one. So I think as long as we just don't get complacent, don't rest on our laurels, use this. I mean, at least in the UK, we've got like this brief period of
respite.
Yeah.
So they're already wheeling out the latest variant bullshit, you know. It's like, oh, please.
Yeah, there's been a few stories, hasn't there?
Do me a favour. But we've got this kind of respite, and it's like, right, so that's the time to get properly organised. And
But also, like, look at Canada. There, you know, that was an organic, the truck convoy is an organic thing that's just
incredible.
Mainstream news says
a
dozen trucks, they reckon.
It's like when they say hundreds of protesters, you know, like.
And did you see that the GoFundMe that's that organised?
Yeah, that's been removed, hasn't
it? $4 million.
It's the corrupt.
We had the same. We were fundraising for the Safer to Wait campaign that we were doing, and that was removed by GoFundMe as well. Yeah, they're obviously working for big tech.
Well, LifeSite News has just brought out their own like sort of GoFundMe thing, and they said they're not going to be swayed by political stuff. So who knows? They just can't keep us down. I don't think that they really can it on us, you know. But humans have always been innovative, ingenious, you know. Like, the Canadians are the perfect example because they're so nice and quite timid as a people and stuff. So they just got pushed down, squashed down, squashed down, squashed down. Now they're just gone, whoop, you know, 50,000 trucks heading to Ottawa. So yeah, really interested to watch that.
Yeah, it's the human spirit. That's the thing they're up against, but they cannot win.
Indomitable.
They can't win against it. We've seen, no matter, you know, you look back over history, although I think, you know, a lot of that's we've not been given the full story, but, you know, just the bloody wars and like atrocity, terrible, and you've still always had people laughing through the most horrific adversity, you know, proper physical hardship and things that we can't really imagine. But the human spirit has never been crushed enough for them to actually get a genuine foothold where they can control. And it is the wild card within humanity.
It is
the divine spark. It's the thing that, like you say, you can get pushed and pushed and pushed to a certain point, and then this thing that's just within you, that's it. And that's,
you know what I think that thing is? You know what I think that thing is, Fifi? I think it's hope. Like, did you guys hear about that experiment they did with the rat? So they had a rat in water and it was swimming for like 30 minutes. And then right before it was going under the water, they gave it a little bit of cheese. They got it out, gave it a cheese. Then the rat went in the water again. You know how long it swam for?
6 hours, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Bingo. 6 hours. That little rat. That's amazing. Like, you know, that says it all to me. All we need is a bit of hope and we can just overcome. You know, back to the rallies, I think that what the rallies do is they give that hope, you know, so people can tell me day and night, oh, they're useless, they don't do anything, but I will never concede that.
The energy of that number of people coming together in love, you know, for the purposes of, you know, freedom. And
it's not angry like,
no,
it's not like that.
And again,
No, there's so much love and fun and
and it's
humanity and
that
spirit.
energetic component. Not everyone kind of sees things that way, but I mean, it is actually measurable. It's been measured by physicists.
But if they didn't get some good feeling from them, they wouldn't keep coming back to the rallies, would they? They wouldn't keep encouraging their friends to come. Yeah,
it's like a compulsion. There's something primal, I suppose, in us to gather, come together, and just show. It's the first thing people want to do, is to show dissent, to show how they feel, take it to the streets. It's always happened. It is an integral part of this, and that's why when we see the marches all across the world, you're just like, yes, when you see masses of people, when we're marching and you suddenly hear this roar and everyone cheering and shouting freedom, literally the hairs go up on your arms. It's so powerful. Just the visual spectacle, the actual feeling of it. I don't care what anyone said. And the fact is, the number of people that keep coming, well, that's why. So it doesn't matter, the naysayers will just stay at home then. And but they do have an impact in lots of ways that can't be seen.
Well, even the sign making, like how good are the signs getting? And then even just seeing the photos of them. I saw the best one from the UK. It was super callous. Risky
I can't remember
doses.
What was it? I posted it. I put
super callous, fascist, risky experimental doses.
Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant.
This is
brilliant.
So clever. Humans are amazing.
We are, and that's what they want to harness. That's what they're constantly trying to use against us. And it has worked to a certain extent, but in others, they can't actually really predict the way humans will behave. They've tried to convince us that we're basically all selfish, we're out for ourselves. We might protect our family or people close to us, but anyone else. And actually, it's just not. It's not the case. And it's the same in the animal kingdom. You're led to believe, it's red in tooth and claw and everything's out for itself and there's no kinds of compassion or love. And it's like, no, we see it all the time. So it's just been a massive whitewash. We just had the wool completely pulled over our eyes. We've been degraded, made to believe the very worst about ourselves. But actually, when we look at the reality, we're collaborative in nature. It's hardwired into us.
I would say that if anything, the last couple of years has quite possibly been a blessing in disguise for humanity, because we have got so lost and so disconnected. Everything's been broken down from all angles. But this massive world kind of crisis of engineering. I think there's many of us who have lived our lives knowing that, we're not being told the truth, that politics and the systems are corrupt. They're not set up to help us. We've kind of had this knowing that, what we're seeing isn't right. But it's kind of, well, I'm one person. What can I do? I've kind of just got to survive and get on with my life and do the best I can. But then an event like this happens. And I think it's awoken many of us to, no, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. And I think, even when COVID, does eventually disappear, because it's running its course, it will run its course. And
it's not going to disappear with all these jabs coming in, if you look at Israel and stuff like that.
Well, but I mean, even when that narrative has run its course, I think there's enough of us now that have really got to the point where, no, we're not going to allow any more of this division. We're not going back to living our lives dulled down, dumbed down, living alone, isolated. that there is much more to life than we've been allowed
Yes.
to have, and that actually now is the way to forge a new world. And
Yep.
there is enough of us now that we have the power to do that.
Yep.
You know, I say it time and time again that, you know, and I think a few of you have said it, and Brady said it on his lives, but this was lost at a community level, and it is where we will win on a community level.
Yeah.
We build from the ground up, from these tiny
Yeah.
communities to these massive protests, to these worldwide demonstrations. You know, you can see just how many souls on this planet are just going, no more,
Yep.
no more, you know?
And the support
I
for
think-
stuff like community gardens, community schooling, you know, food co-ops, like all those things are a way to get back to the community, you know, and it's great. It's loving. It's, you know, less waste. It's, you know, less interference, I guess would be the word. Like, you know, even schools here, like the Steiner School, they're 70% government funded. So, you know, Steiner schools are mandating the jab.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
Rudolf Steiner, he was like such a voice for homeopathy and against, you know, allopathic medicine. Oh,
That's what
That
they
says it
do,
all,
though.
really.
That's what they do, is they infiltrate and take over anything that is genuine.
Yeah,
So
they
we
corrupt
do
it.
need to be doing, and that's what happens when things are on a large scale. It needs to be community level, on that large scale, in the sense that everyone's doing it, but it's all concentrated in those areas. And also it's necessary now, because I said it recently in a live, the systems that we're dependent on were created in order for us to be dependent on them. This, you know, insane
100%.
centralization of everything, they've done it so you do this or we pull the plug and you haven't got that. And they're basic survival things. And they know that when they've got that held over you, they've taken over the food system, they've taken over the education, they've taken over every system you can think of that functions within a
Media.
society. It's owned, it's owned outright. So we've got to be creating our own that are based on mutual exchange. You know, it's a pleasure to be involved in. It's part of the community. Everyone's giving there's a totally different energy to it. So it's not just like, oh, that would be a nice thing to do. We bloody have to take it seriously, people, because at some point you don't want to be in the position where, oh, look, all the power's gone off, because they will do whatever it takes to try and get us in line, to get us living in their smart cities, traced within an inch of our lives, with no control, no privacy. Those agendas have gone nowhere. So the COVID narrative is crumbling, it's failing. But that is just one thing in their arsenal, and that's what we have to be aware of. But the good thing, I do think, because so many lies have been exposed now, people are so untrusting of anything that the government says. When they do wheel out, then, you know, it's going to be the climate crisis and it'll be climate lockdowns, all of that. But actually people are not buying it. We've seen that already. We had the COP 24, 26, COP 26. My God, people were just absolutely contemptuous. And
is that the one that Scott Morrison went to?
And like, you know,
and people were ignoring him.
I
saw a clip from that. I was embarrassed for Australia.
It was the whole thing was embarrassing. You know, they are clueless. But so I think there is that hope that actually people aren't just going to just go along with the next engineer crisis. Oh, when you have to be doing this, that, and the other. People are a lot more jaded now.
And you know what? Especially big thanks and big shout out to all those citizen journalists out there, because from that COP thing, whatever it's called, you know, you see the official photo where they're all socially distanced, and then you see the behind the scenes photos that someone's put up where they're all standing together with no masks and just the waiters have masks on. I mean, you know, it's images like that. It just destroys their narrative and shows exactly how fake they are.
And there's nothing to worry about. If there was this
citizen journalism is
big ups. Key. in, you know,
I
the
think that's
people
actually
filming
the
empty hospitals, the people, you know, really risking, they were getting arrested, filming jab centres, you know, all sorts, and showing what the reality actually is. It's woken up a lot of people.
I am hoping, I think over here, one of the biggest things that's driving it is that I think there's been somewhere between 12 and 19 like Prime Minister and MP parties since we got put into lockdown.
What?
And it's you know, I keep posting about it, and I'm just like, you know, I'm not angry that they've been meeting. Like, you know, I would encourage anyone to just ignore the rules and go meet friends and party, you know, happy days. But the takeaway is they've got access to all the data, all the science, like everything they need to know to make an informed decision about how best to, you know, and they've decided that this isn't a threat to them, that this isn't a threat to their relatives.
And that says it all.
Perfectly acceptable to party. Now, with all this information that they've got, if this was that serious, they wouldn't be partying. That's the biggest takeaway.
They'd be in the bunkers, you know?
Says it all. They would.
Yeah.
They would.
Unfortunately, not enough people have been focusing on that. They've been focusing on, that's not fair. We weren't allowed to. It's like, whoa, wait, dial back a bit. Why?
Ignore how unfair it is.
Yeah, why were they not scared? If we've been told, my God, for the sake of everyone, you know, you have to do this, that, and the other. Clearly, there is nothing to worry about here. And
masks do nothing.
A bit. I mean, we're still seeing here, I know the mandate ends tomorrow, but I'm like, oh, I mean, quite a lot of people have taken them off, but so many are still wearing them. And I'll be really interested to see, like, will they take them off because they're that controlled and sheep, like that they're literally, until I'm told it's okay, I'm going to keep it on. And how many will keep wearing one because they really do believe in this wholeheartedly, and they feel.
I really feel sorry for those people, you guys. That's who I feel sorry for.
I find myself in really conflicted. There's these local newspaper posts that are like, will you carry on wearing your mask after the mandate ends? And I get really like these people that are saying yes. I'm kind of like, well, you're living in your truth. You're believing that they're working. You're believing that that's helping, and you're standing by that, and you're doing what you think is best. Fine. Then these people say, no, I'm not going to wear one if I don't have to. And you think, well, you obviously
the only reason you're wearing one is because the government told you.
Like, you're not doing it because you think it's helping. You're not doing it because you're afraid of the virus. You're doing it because you've been told to.
Yeah.
And now you're just happy to just. And for me, it's kind of like, you know, at least these people that are going to carry on wearing them are doing so because they believe it's the right thing to do. It's kind of like...
Yeah, exactly the same thing just yesterday. I've actually got more respect, if you can call it that, for the people that are wearing them.
Are genuinely scared.
You know, because, okay, they might be wrong, but that's what they believe. But the ones who are literally only wearing it because they've been told to, oh no, that's
the saddest thing, isn't it?
Lost cause. It's really sad.
Where is your own mind in this? You know, like the government tells you to chop off a finger for climate change. Like,
I know plenty of people that are like, yeah, I know it doesn't work. Yeah, I know it's useless, but you know, I just can't be asked with the hassle. And you think,
what hassle?
No.
What hassle? Someone says, oh, you're not wearing a mask. You say, no, I'm not. And you walk on and continue on with your life.
Yeah. They've certainly, a lot of the shops have kind of dropped the questioning as you go in. They sort of just ignore it now. I think there's enough people now that are read up on their rights, you know, and the discrimination policies, the equal opportunities, all that kind of stuff, that are happy to stand there and go, no, and you have no right to ask me about why I'm exempt. I'm not wearing one. That is enough. Like,
and how empowering is it, like, when people feel like that? I know I love the feeling of just saying no. Like, I am a little bit confrontational, you know, just a little bit, but but you know, I want to be able to say no. I made my decision and I stand by it, and I wish I could just you know, help everyone feel like that, really, because it's not as big of a hassle as people think it is, really, is it?
No, it's happening now. I think for a lot of people, it's like they need permission. So there's a certain number of other people doing the opposite that is required for them to feel like they can join them. You know, it's that tipping point
Well, we're a
again.
massive group now. Come join us. Like, there's
Yeah.
loads of us, like literally millions.
Fresh
of
air
us.
is so good.
Yeah, we're a friendly bunch. Come on down.
We are.
Like, it physically
Yeah.
pains me to see people walking outside in the tropical heat wearing a mask. Like, it hurts. I'm
Yeah.
stopped yelling
I
out
only
my car
find that
window
when
though.
it's
So
children. Children is
yeah,
what gets
children.
me.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
can't hold back with I can't keep my mouth shut when it's children. That's just
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless the children.
Indeed.
And even if they're not wearing a mask, just seeing every adult around them wearing a mask. You know, did you see that thing in the USA that speech issues have gone up 350%? Problems with speech in children. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
like, come on, people.
Damaging on so many levels. So many
I
levels.
think we are going to see definitely in the coming months and years probably there will be lots and lots of stuff being released of we've seen this massive explosion in such and such a problems and people going, oh, do you think that might have been the lockdown and the mask wearing and the injections and this, that and the other, and people will start going, oh, perhaps that was the wrong thing to do. And then there's all of us going, we've been trying to tell you since the beginning, you know. We're already seeing some of, I mean, I think within our media, certainly a little bit like rats leaving sinking ships, you know, starting to kind of just slightly change their position. And
they know.
Yeah.
They found out, you know, they are, but it's too late. We won't forget, I'm afraid. They're trying to save their own hides now, and it's too late. It's too late. They can't just, you know, they had all the information. They knew, it's full knowledge. And now it's just, oh dear, the tide's turned a bit. We want to kind of cling on it. No, people won't forget. I
think it's going to be really important in the future. Like, for example, say if you were a nurse who thought you were doing the right thing, and you know, you're jabbing the children and stuff like that and the adults, and then you find out that that was really a bad thing to do, they're going to be in deep regret. And as hard as it is, I think we do have to, you know, sort of say, look, you have to forgive yourself, because what are these people going to do if they can't forgive themselves? What are you going to do? How do you live with that hanging over you?
I wholeheartedly believe we have to come at this with compassion and with love in our hearts, and you know, we are all only human, and I do believe that rightly or wrongly, whatever people are doing at this time in history, the vast majority of them are doing what they believe to be right. And although, you know, we've sat there and we've done our research and we've looked beyond what we're being fed constantly, and we're seeing the harm that this is doing, and we're trying to speak out about it. Yeah, I think we've got to come at this from an angle where we know that our entire lives, from the minute we were put on this planet, we have been programmed and indoctrinated and spoon-fed the way to be and the way to think and who you can trust and how we're not supposed to rely on ourselves. What do we know? We're tiny people, you know, there's all these experts, we've got to trust those ones, and only the ones that you're told to. The rest are idiots, don't listen to them. But yeah, I do think, you know, people are doing what they think is best. And yes, in years to come, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to really, really struggle with how they've behaved over the last couple of years.
You don't have to invite them over to your house or anything. But,
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we've got to accept, you know, that, and I think to turn on them and to try and make them
that would bring ourselves down.
More division.
And it again is playing right into the hands of you know, this division and this hatred.
That's what they hate about us. They hate the fact that we can forgive, that we can get part. They kind of rely on people being vengeful and unforgiving.
In the darkness,
we
you know,
go totally against you know, we rise above our base kind
Absolutely.
of desire to have
Yeah.
revenge and to hate and all of these.
Yeah.
That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different, because we can choose. I mean, it's incredibly difficult as well to be able to forgive. I mean, that again, you know, the number of people throughout history that have forgiven atrocities we can't imagine. You know, mothers whose children have been murdered, and they've found it. They've managed to forgive the very person who's taken away the most precious thing to them in the world, and the blossoming that comes from that, from the actual murderer as well. I'm thinking of one specific case. It's just incredible. But that's the kind of thing that they rely on us not going that way, to constantly be divided. So we have to always have that overriding compassion. It doesn't mean, every individual that you will love, you know, the same as you, but it's just a general approach, isn't it? A general attitude to a fellow
Well,
man.
you'll love this quote. I got the perfect quote for this discussion. Anger corrodes the vessel that contains it. You know, so if you're filled with anger, the only person that's harming is you.
Exactly.
And I know in our movement, there are a lot of anger. I mean, I get very angry, but you've got to work through it, you know?
Yeah.
Got
There's
to.
kind of righteous anger, which is
Yeah.
pure, you know, it's kind of the,
Fuel.
it is.
Energize you, you know?
It's the catalyst for, but it's not
that's
that,
it.
it can't be that corrosive, bitter.
No. The
It's just-
hatred.
Exactly.
You know, mockery is so much more powerful than hatred. I was saying to you guys before that at our next rally, we're trying to get a comedian to come in because it's so powerful laughing at
poke
this.
fun. We have to poke fun at this.
Yeah.
We do. We do have to keep our sense of humour.
Yeah.
Through this. That's human. But anyway, well, that was a good catch up. I think
It was.
probably
Lots of love.
Yeah, and to you.
Everybody, so much love. Hope you have an awesome night, day, whatever it is where you are.
Yeah, likewise. So yeah, we'll speak to you all soon.
Lots of love. Bye.